going to talk about one of the first things that threw me when I was moving into Houdini from Maya, and that is scene scale. I started working, I followed tutorials, and it always looked good, but the minute I started bringing in anything from another software, it will all scale up, scale down, and the main reason is that Maya works in centimeters by default, and Houdini works in meters by default. And it does make a very big difference because if I do a simulation here and run it, for example, like so, you could see like everything falls faster, it behaves in a very certain way. But if I did the same simulation in Houdini with the default sizes there, everything moves slower because it's way bigger. So if I'm working in a certain scale in Maya or in any other software and I'm going to bring in geometry into Houdini, I want to match the sizes or at least the scene size so I get the correct behavior for the scale that I'm in. So this is a little method that I have that I use to kind of calculate this out. But before we get started, I just want to show you that this is a very simple setup. It's basically these 4 nodes, which we'll talk about in the next video. But the only changes I've done are very, very simple changes. If we look here at the nucleus node, I just upped the sampling from 3 to 6 and 4 to 8. And I changed the scene scale to 0.1 from 1. This is kind of default stuff that we do in Nucleus, and we'll talk about the equivalents in Houdini Vellum later on. But if I'm working in this scale, which is in centimeters, how do I kind of figure out whatever model I have or brought in or bought or whatever? How do I figure out like how much should I scale up or down my simulation? So the method that I found, and it kind of helps me, is just use a cube. I do that the same thing in Houdini. Is basically I create a default cube, which in this case is going to be a very simple centimeter cubed. So if I create a cube by default, you could see it should be set to 1 here, but that's a centimeter by centimeter, right? So if I want this to be a meter, I just have to do this times 100 centimeters, and that's 100. And then I just need to up that to about 5. And scale this down to 0.1. And that will kind of just get it into, if I go to wireframe, you can see that that's going to encompass my entire character. So this is going to give me a good idea of like how much I need to scale down my objects comparatively to their actual size. So with this size, I know if this was a meter and I'm knocking it down to 0.1, this is going to give me a percentage of that size, and then I can get a good idea. So this is basically, let's see, it's 2, 4, 5, so it's 5, so it's 10 by 10. So this is let's say 100 centimeters each, right? Sorry about that. So that's kind of how I did it here. So if I jump into Houdini over here, and I'll press spacebar G just to frame stuff, you could see that basically this is what I have. I have a cube here, which is demonstrating like the default size, and then I have my object that I'm going to simulate. If I just turn off for now the scaling, and you could see the uniform scale here is set to 0.1, the same that I have in Maya, and I just zoom out a bit, you can see the actual default size when I created this geometry in Houdini is quite big. So I needed to scale it down to the same scaling that I have in Maya to kind of simulate exactly the same. So the simulations look pretty much the same. So then I scaled it down to the same size. So that's kind of how you should approach scaling. And that is the subject of this video. The next video, we're going to look at the difference between the similarities and the difference between the nodes in Maya and Vellum. See you in the next video. Let's get to it.